Hello everyone, good day. Wanted to talk about kind of the very niche application of putting aftermarket dust cover or ejection port covers on the MDX uppers. So I'm not sure if this would apply to all the Maxim Defense uppers, but certainly the ones that come on the MDX 510, which is what this upper receiver is from, the MDX 508, 505, and well, as I get into it, you'll see if it applies to the rest of them as well. But at least for the Maxim Defense uppers that have this kind of 416 spec rail up here, one thing I noticed that they do when I went to change out the dust cover, because I did a review on this recently and I was keeping everything in kind of its stock configuration for the review, but now that I've done that, I did want to change parts out, and one of them being the dust cover. I do prefer polymer dust covers, and I noticed when I was trying to put this on, if you look at the footage that I'm overlaying right now, there is only this little kind of in the middle here of the port area. There's just a little tab cut out, and since these polymer dust covers are a little bit wider around the axle area than your mil-spec ones, this actually would not fit. So if you're looking to replace your regular mil-spec dust cover on the Maxim Defense upper, if you go with a metal one, like one of the titanium ones or just like a different aluminum one or whatever, that'll fit probably fine. But if you go with any of them that have a little bit more material down here for whatever reason, then it's probably not going to fit. So you can see here, I did cut this away. I do think this turned out pretty well, but yeah, kind of went and bubbled it up a little bit here. So if you do want to use a aftermarket polymer dust cover on here, what you'll need to do is take that little tab there in the center where it's cut out and just cut that back all the way back and all the way forward. I didn't actually need to cut very much off on the front, just very, very little, just to make sure everything was rotating properly. But I really had to cut a lot away on the back section here. I noticed the axle, at least on this Magpul one, which is what I've been mostly testing it with, but I have tested other ejection port covers, like the HK polymer one as well, and they were all having the same issue. But just while I was doing this, I was using this one because it's easier to take on and off. And yeah, it was constantly getting stuck back here. So I did cut quite a bit out here. It all looks fairly uniform now because I finished it and I went through and smoothed everything out. So it took off quite a bit of finish. But I wanted to do the video so you can see this a bit better before I paint this back over or clear coat, whatever I end up doing. So it's way easier to see what went on here. Pretty much if you just cut this right down to as deep as the original tab here was, you don't need to go as wide as it was. You can see I ended up doing that just because it does look better, but I just had this little channel here before kind of doing the final smoothing out, and it was working fine. And then just as I was smoothing things out, it just kind of ended up becoming the same width all the way across. If you are concerned about the durability when you're cutting into an upper receiver like this, I don't think this is really going to be an issue. If you don't, like I said, you don't need to go crazy with how deep you cut it. And if you look on the inside, it's not like they have any different amount of material anywhere, so I'm sure it's going to be completely fine as far as durability is concerned to just span this all the way across. Kind of weird that they built it like that in the first place. I haven't really encountered any other uppers that are like this where aftermarket dust covers won't fit on them. Other than that, the only thing I can say is you might want to go with a telescoping one, just purely my own kind of recommendation, because I did notice that if you put a regular kind of conventional type of ejection port axle in here, the only way to take it out is back through the front. And with the mil-spec one that they had in here, I was having a lot of difficulty. I was trying to use a pin and like pushing it forward, and it took way too long to get that off. So if you do decide to replace it, maybe go with a telescoping one like this Magpul, UTG, Strike Industries. I know those three because I own them. All have a telescoping design. Personally, probably going to go with this Magpul, just a black one. I just happen to have an OD one on hand, so I'm going to be testing it with this, and then if it works, I'll go with a black one. Otherwise, yeah, Magpul one is nice and easy to install. So you might want to use a reaction rod. I just have a Nefarious Arms one here just because it works pretty well for this sort of task, just so that when you're actually cutting this, you can just secure this in place. I just had mine like here and just locked it in. That way you're not having to kind of battle against holding this in place and also at the same time trying to cut a nice even line. Actually, I suppose I should show you, since I didn't actually show this working. So Original footage you saw earlier when I was overlaying it on the screen, this would get stuck everywhere. But now, you can see it's right there, pops out, barely any force needed, just pops all the way out every time. So really good right there. If you are wondering what types of bits, I used the Bub-O-Matic Dremel for this. These are the bits that I used for it. This was the one that I smoothed everything out with, and then I went over it one more time with steel wool afterwards, but mostly used this one right here. And then for this little bit, if I actually pop this dust cover back off, right here at the back, I did end up using this really, really small, tiny bit, which you do need to do. This little part right here will kind of get caught on these polymer dust cover axles otherwise. So you do need to get it right up to the hole right there, you can see. And you can see I got it cut there pretty well. Wasn't able to smooth it out the best back here just because my other bit there wasn't small enough to do so, but everything else here is nice and smooth. So really most of the attention you need to put on to this upper, if you are wanting to go this route, is just a lot here in the back, just around this section right there. And then from there, pretty straightforward. So hopefully this was helpful. Let me know if you have any other questions on this. I'm going to go get this painted, and everything should be working well from here. Take care, and I'll see you all in the next one.